I'll call the September 26th, 2024 City Commission meeting to order. We have 3 commissioners present, 2 are excused, Commissioner Barrick and Commissioner Musil. First item on the agenda is the minutes from the previous meeting. Any comments or additions or corrections?
I see none.
Financial statement. There you go. I wondered why you were grinning over there. He was ready.
Kim, you're taller.
I look much better than.
It's on the record.
See how that goes.
Jared Kuckelman, Management Analyst. So in your packets is the report of the revenue and expenditure activities of the City of Hayes for the month ended August 31st, 2024. Revenues in August totaled $4,372,744, an increase of $847,211 compared to the same period last year. Some notable areas of increased revenue compared to August of 2023. The $1,094,000 increase in federal aid for the Airport Improvement Fund includes the new SRE building funding, and another round of opioid settlement funds were received, increasing $50,065 for August. Some notable areas of revenue decrease compared to 2023. Capital projects was down $120,000 due to the transfer from CCR this time last year for the 13th Street project. In August, residential water consumption was up 3% and business was down 8%, but year-to-date total revenue is up $20,000. Expenditures in August totaled $5,059,000, which is a decrease of $155,000 as compared to 2023. Some notable areas of increased expenditures compared to August of 2023. The Airport Improvement Fund expenditures were up $142,000, mainly due to the start on the KHP hangar project. Fire Department general supplies increased $14,000 for the purchase of 4 sets of bunker gear. Fleet expenditures rose $57,000 due mainly to service and refuse truck needing major repair, including a turbo and wiring harness. Electricity for intergovernmental increased $39,000 due just to timing of billing, and new equipment reserves expenditures were up $176,000 for the purchase of public works and water resources trucks. Some notable areas of decreased expenditures compared to August of 2023 were capital projects was off $93,000, mainly due to the beginning of the 27th at Canterbury Roundabout this time last year. Golf course improvement fell $62,000 as a result of the ongoing cart path reconstruction project a year ago, and special highway expenditures were down $747,000 for street maintenance projects last year. Month to date, general fund sales tax collections were at $848,978, which was a decrease of $23,990 or 2.75% as compared to last year. Year-to-date sales tax collections were at $6,449,830, which is down $16,442 or 0.25% as compared to last year. The 6-month average was off just 0.12%, which was a year-over-year decrease of 7.61%. And year-to-date county sales tax collections are at $764,384, which is a year-over-year decrease of 1%. The report of top 10 quarter-to-date sales tax collections by classification was up $73,000 or about 2%. These top 10 represent 74% of the total sales tax collections for the running quarter. The total par value of the U.S. Treasuries for August was $8 million, with a weighted average yield to maturity of 4.5%, which is up 7.73% from a year ago. The total of the portfolio of certificates of deposit on August 31st, 2024 was $57,695,804, with a weighted average rate to maturity of 5%. Total balance of the money market account on August 31st, 2024 was $5 million, with a current yield of 4.158%, which is up 1.458% from a year ago. Total investments were up $4,172,124.
I move to approve the financial statement as presented.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the financial statement. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody have any questions? Aye. Thank you. Thank you, Jared. Nice job. We'll tell Kim how you felt about it. We have lots of people here today. Do we have any citizen comments? Consent agenda, we don't have anything on the consent agenda for this week, so we'll move on to item 6, which is 13th Street reconstruction award of bid. Jesse.
Good afternoon, Jesse Rohr, Director of Public Works. So my items today are a couple development items that for your consideration today. First one being a construction project for reconstruction of a portion of 13th Street. We want to talk about award a bid for this project. The project location is on East 13th from Canterbury to Commerce Parkway. There's kind of two portions of the project. There's a city portion, and then there's a portion that will be funded by USD 49 School District. The city portion includes reconstructing the roadway from Anthony Drive to Commerce Parkway. Widening of sections from 13th Street, from 2 to 3 lanes will occur on a portion of that, and I'll talk about that more in a minute. We are also going to construct a multi-use path along the entire north side of the project. And then the entire street from Anthony to Commerce Parkway will receive asphalt mill and overlay as well. The project itself is slated to be completed prior to the start of the 2025 fall school semester. The USD 49 portion that I mentioned has kind of 3 main components to it. They are constructing 2 dedicated right turn lanes into the new entrances to the high school. They will be installing some enhanced pedestrian crossings. These crossings will have median islands. They'll have the rapid flashing beacons like you see in other areas of town as well. And then there's portions of the signal that will be changed. The signal light at 13th and Canterbury. There'll be some signal upgrades to the equipment components themselves, and then actually some of the mast arms and lights will be changed slightly as well. So here, this map just shows the kind of the entire stretch of the city portion. And from Anthony, Anthony will be just off the left side of the image there, and goes clear to Commerce Parkway. The total length of the project, of this stretch of the project, is about 3,500 feet. And like I say, everything will receive a width, a widening of the project from Anthony to just east of Tallgrass Drive. So here again is the portion, this is kind of the west half of the project. Again, you can see Anthony Drive there on the far left of the image. This entire portion here will be widened from 2-lane to 3-lane. And then the blue line you see on there is the proposed multi-use path. That's a component to the project that will tie into the existing path there, on the city property there on the north side of the street. And then here's kind of the east portion of the project. Again, you can see the multi-use path in blue continuing all the way to Commerce Parkway. And then the area that's kind of outlined in the red box will remain 2-lane. However, it will receive a asphalt mill and overlay, so it'll have new asphalt on it. And I already mentioned the multi-use path there in that section, that stretch as well. So this one, a lot of details here you can't see, but the intention of this slide is to show you what portion is city and what portion is school district. So the area in blue, that's the city portion. Again, that's from Anthony Drive to Commerce Parkway. And then the orange yellowish color would be the school district portions. Again, you can see the new high school entrances as they're labeled here. The work at the 13th Canterbury intersection, most of that is the signal upgrades, and there's a little bit of pavement marking that will occur there as well. And then you can kind of see the pedestrian islands. There'll be one here and one here, and the enhanced crosswalks there. So we did put this out to bid. We received one bid on July 30th of this year. The bid came in, the bid from APAC Kansas Incorporated at just under $3.6 million. Knowing we were over budget with that bid, and I'll show you the numbers here in a minute, that we adjusted the scope slightly to get us within budget and not cause any issues with the project. And as the original scope had the widening all the way to Commerce Parkway. So really what we did was pull out that stretch from East Tallgrass to Commerce. That'll remain 2 lanes. And sometime in the future, if warranted, that can always be widened at that time. So there's nothing we're doing that would have to be undone as part of a future project. We feel that by changing the scope as proposed, we're still meeting all the intended safety components for both vehicular and pedestrian traffic. So here you can see what the original city budget is. Besides the City Hayes Commission Capital Reserve contribution, there is a $400,000 contribution from Ellis County, and then a $1.2 million KDOT cost share grant that was given to the city as well. So you can see the total budget of $2.3 million. And then in the bottom portion here, you can see the total project cost. You can see the City Hayes portion. Again, we're about $60,000 or so under the total city budget for that portion of the project. You can see the cost there for the USD 49 portion. That was discussed at this past Monday's school board meeting and approved by the school board for their portion of the project. And then the total project costs are just over $3 million. So your options today are to award the bid to APAC Kansas Incorporated as recommended, or provide other alternatives. This would be the action requested. It's a long one.
I move to authorize the city manager to enter an agreement with APAC Kansas Inc. in the amount of $3,032,606.57 for construction services related to the city and school improvements along the East 13th Street corridor from Canterbury Drive to Commerce Parkway, to be funded from Commission Capital Reserves, Ellis County reimbursement, a KDOT cost share grant, and with the reimbursement from the USD 489 in the amount of $763,449.85 for their portion of the project.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, moved by Commissioner Reuter and seconded by Commissioner Cunningham. Further discussions, questions?
Jesse, you said construction would be completed before the next school year, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Prior to that, when do they plan on starting again?
We don't have an exact date yet, so after award of bid, we'll get with APAC and we'll determine a schedule for the project. The project plans do include traffic phasing. There will be times where it'll be one lane either direction. It's the nature of this type of project. You know, it's not a project. It's not a small enough project where it can happen during a summer, non-school time frame. So we'll work with the contractor. We'll make sure, as we have all along, we'll keep the school district informed as well, and any other, there's some other entities out there as well that are adjacent to the project, the church and others that we'll keep informed. So, like I say, and we can come back at some point and kind of update you with what that looks like as well. So.
Because I'm assuming they wouldn't go to the one lane while school's in session.
Portions will be, but that'll be east of the existing school. So.
Oh, okay, okay.
So yeah,
they'll
everything
be
that's
closer to
happening
the-
on the city side will be from kind of where the new construction of the high school is. That the temporary construction entrance, but entrances to the existing high school. There's no widening or anything or mill and overlay happening in those portions. That'll be they'll be doing pedestrian islands, things like that. So
Okay.
that portion should have two-way traffic the entire time.
For anybody coming from the east, westbound on there, that will be an issue for a period of time, because some people do, some kids do. They've
Right,
chosen to
and-
do that,
right.
but they'll probably
So,
choose to
right,
do
and-
something different.
And we'll like I say, make sure we do the proper notifications and things and get it out to the public. One thing we were able to do by reducing the scope was, because with the original project, the portion of the road would have been entirely closed for a portion of time for rebuilding a drainage structure there on the east side of the project. So since we're not doing that portion, we won't have to, there shouldn't be a time where it's closed down completely. But if there is, once we talk to the contractor again, we'll keep everyone informed of that. So.
Okay.
Commissioner Cunningham?
I just have one question, more of a clarification. With those pedestrian crossings that are going to be on 13th Street, did you say they do have the flashing pedestrian
Yes.
lights? Okay.
There'll be three of them, and all three of them will have the lights. Two of them will have the raised median islands. I believe one is just a standard crosswalk, but all three of them will have the flashing beacons.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I think we had a couple questions last week. One came from me, and I think maybe from Commissioner Musil, as to why we're not completing all the way to Commerce Parkway. And it's obvious, it's a financial situation, but I did take the time to spend some time driving out there and how the transition's going to happen. And I, considering we're saving $500,000 maybe, I always think about what's it going to cost if we have to do it in 2 years. But for now, given the scope of the project, it all is going to work fine, I think. Why I had a concern that wasn't really a concern.
I think so too, and the staff looked at it. We had MKC, our engineers on the project, take a look at it as well. And again, by making the split at that point of the project, just, I agree, we don't really have the concerns that,
Right.
any at this time, so.
Thank you. Is that it? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Pass 3-0. Thank you, Jesse. Number 7th is the 27th and Main Street Development Project, the authorization of funds, and you're still there.
I'm still here. So this project is for some development that's occurring at the intersection of 27th and Main. So a little recap, I know most of us are probably familiar with this property and the project that's going on there. The property, the vacant land, about 4.5 acres of property at 27th and Main, was purchased by City Hayes, and a portion was then sold to Astor Bank. So there's some development occurring now that will be the new location of Astor Bank. So on this property here, on this image here, you can see a new street that will be going in right through the center of the project between Main and Fort. The north side of the street is Astor Bank property, and the south side is currently still owned by the City Hayes. So again, here's the lot. You can see the street going through the center, right in this portion right here. Then on the north side, again, the Astor Bank, I don't know if anyone's been by there this week. They're actually out there doing some pad work for the site currently. And then the south side, what's being constructed there is a stormwater detention facility to accommodate the entire 4.5 acre property. So here this image just zooms in on the north half, so everything north of the new 26th Street. You can see the bank facility here in the image. All the grayed out area will be their concrete area. The remainder of the property will remain vacant at this time. There's 2 lots remaining for future development. That will occur at Astor Bank's leisure. And then the south portion, south of 26th, the primary thing going on there right now along with this project, again, is the construction of a stormwater detention facility. Kind of starts up here and kind of wraps around the south side along the existing alley. And the remaining property slated for development at some point in the future. So I already mentioned the sale of the property and the agreement between Astra and the City of Hayes. It's likely that the remaining property on the south side will develop into some sort of multifamily in the future. Still open at this time. And besides the new street and the stormwater infrastructure I mentioned, there's also a sanitary sewer main that will be installed by the contractor as well. So per the original sale agreement between the city and Astra, part of that funding for for the infrastructure was negotiated, and the city agreed to fund 50% of the cost of the street, since we own the property on the south side at this time. And the city will fund 100% cost of the stormwater infrastructure. It's not on here, but Astra will fund 100% of the sanitary sewer infrastructure as part of their project. So here's the cost of the city portion of the infrastructure. We got the stormwater portion, just under $89,000, and then the portion for the street, just over $200,000. Again, we're paying 50% of the street and 100% of the stormwater. We're requesting the funds come out of 2 different sources. The stormwater retention will come out of stormwater reserve funds, and the portion for 26th Street, the 50% share of the city, is slated to come out of City Commission capital reserves. So what we need from you, if there's no issues, is to authorize the expenditure of the funds as recommended. Provide other alternatives if not, and this will be the action requested.
I move to authorize the expenditure of funds in the amount of $88,800 from the Stormwater Reserve Fund and $205,050 from City Commission capital reserves for the stormwater and street projects at 27th and Main Street as proposed.
Second that.
It's been moved by Commissioner Cunningham, second by Commissioner Reuter. Any other discussions or questions for
I
Jesse?
just want to clarify one last time. I think you again stated this last week, but that retention that we're building will be able to accommodate any type of development on the rest of the property.
Yes, and
Okay.
so yeah, it was purposely designed and engineered to accommodate not only the bank project, but Astra's 2 other lots and the remaining city property as well. So if multifamily housing gets built or other retail or whatever on lots, this will cover the entire site.
Excellent.
Good question.
Thank you.
Commissioner Reader?
I got nothing.
I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. We're ready for a public hearing for the establishment of a Rural Housing Incentive District, RHID, at 10th and Walnut. I'll open the public hearing.
All right, Colin Belzer, Deputy City Manager. And so the reason for the public hearing is to establish a reinvestment housing incentive district for 10th and Walnut. Passage of an ordinance is required following the public hearing. So to explain the project and the ordinance. The city does own a piece of land located at 10th and Walnut, which used to serve as the parking lot for the former Union Pacific Train Depot. And in the past, the city has solicited proposals for the redevelopment of the area into a higher performing use. Local developer Mike Graham is proposing to construct 2 structures containing an aggregate total of 48 apartment units. 12 of those would be 2-bedroom units and 36 would be 1-bedroom units. Mike Graham has successfully redeveloped other areas in the city, such as 7th and Oak and 4th and Fort. And here's a conceptual rendering of what the complex might look like. Kind of just an idea of what it'd be overlaid if you're looking at the site from above. So Mike Graham is requesting the usage of a reinvestment housing incentive district to fund the project's improvements. The Reinvestment Housing Incentive District, or RHID, it's a state program that's designed to help developers build housing, similar to a TIF where it captures the incremental increase in property taxes for up to 25 years. And then the revenue from that increment can reimburse the developer for eligible costs, which are basically infrastructure-related costs. Can't be used for the living units or the building itself, but everything associated with that: streets, water, sewer, lighting, etc. This is an image of the district that was created. It encompasses the entire alley and all of 10th Street from Ash to Elm. Reason we did this because we'll be having to move a water line. We'll obviously be impacting the street. So a lot of the money from the RHID will be used to repair and replace existing infrastructure, since this is an infill project, obviously. So this is a pay-as-you-go project. It's estimated that over 25 years, the project will generate a little under $1.2 million. However, the eligible project costs are just under $700,000. So an RHID does it lasts for up to 25 years or until full reimbursement of the expenditures. So based on the projections, this should not last 25 years. And then a component of the development agreement with this will be the transfer of the property at the project's location. As I mentioned, the city does own that site right now. Once the RHID district is created, the property will be sold to the developer for $1. However, the city will have a right to repurchase the property for that dollar if the development does not occur. So we're almost at the finish line. Tonight, you'll accept comments from the public during the public hearing regarding the proposed RHID. Following the public hearing, the commission must adopt an ordinance establishing the district, and that's the final action that will be required by the commission. If passed, the RHID will be created unless the USD 489 Board of Education or the Ellis County Commissioners adopt a resolution in opposition, and they have 30 days after the public hearing to do that. So everything proceeds smoothly, then this should become effective October 29th. The developer must commence vertical construction no later than April 1st, 2025, and substantial completion must be completed 30 months after construction begins. Your options are to adopt the ordinance, decline, or provide other direction. The action request is on screen. Now's the time for any public comments, and at the conclusion of those comments, the commission must vote to close the public hearing, and then they may act upon the action requested on the slide. And the developer is here if you have questions.
Do we have any comments, first of all? No comments? I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye passes 3-0. And now we needed an action on the,
I move to approve ordinance number 4062, establishing a reinvestment housing incentive district and adopting a plan for the development of housing and public facilities in the district 10th and Walnut.
Seconded.
Kind of goes back and forth here, doesn't it?
A little bit.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cunningham and a second by Commissioner Reuter. Is there any questions? And having Mr. Graham here is an opportunity if anybody has any questions.
I'm just, I'm so excited to have, I talked about this with Colin earlier, how we're coming to this meeting and it's never, oh man, we got to tackle this because we're in trouble with something. We got to come and do the fun things like this. And investing in the community with what you guys are doing, Adam, with what you're doing. I mean, we're so lucky to have people like you guys here in our community doing this for us. You're taking this risk and investing it right back into the community, and I'm excited to see once it goes up because your buildings are incredible. They're lovely looking buildings, and it's giving a home to people who need it. So I really appreciate it.
Commissioner Cunningham?
Basically want to echo that. Very appreciative of what you're doing. I think it's going to be an amazing improvement to that area. I think even the residents around there will be excited. So thank you.
I am often thanking Mike for everything he's doing, investing back in our community. And we do it at the commission chambers and we hear it here. This is the one project I've heard a lot from people in the city. Citizens are really excited to see this project get started, and they're anxious for that whole area to improve and change. And I think it's just an extension of everything that's happening with downtown. It's bringing the corridors together, the university, and even though that's not university housing, it's a wonderful stretch there. So we really do appreciate it, Mike. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Passes 3-0. Thank you, Colin. We're going to talk about Community Development Block Grant, the CDBG agreement between the City of Hayes and Kansas Department of Commerce.
Good afternoon, Jared Cochran, Management Analyst. So today we'll have some important documents for the CDBG project with Chestnut Suites. Just a bit of background. The city received an application earlier this year from the developer, Chestnut Suites LLC, to apply for $300,000 in community development block grant, or CDBG, funding through the Commercial Rehabilitation Program. The developer currently owns the vacant building at 1108 North Main in downtown Hayes and has plans to transform the building into a luxury short-term rental Airbnb called Chestnut Suites. Plans entail creating 24 to 26 rentable rooms designed similar to those of traditional hotel rooms, available to both short-term and long-term travelers and renters. Here's the location of the building, right off Main Street in downtown. Here's some photos of the exterior and interior of the building. And then here's some preliminary floor plans showing the different kinds of rooms that would be available for rent upon completion. So you'll probably recall that we completed some of the steps to submit the CDBG application back in May, and the application was officially submitted shortly after that. We received notice a few weeks ago that the grant was being awarded, which has allowed us to work with the developer and the consultant team at Ranson on proceeding with the next steps in the CDBG process. Since CDBG is a federally funded program administered by the states, there are many federal and state guidelines that must be followed, and this requires the authorization of several important documents in order to actually receive the grant funds. And some of these documents are also necessary because the city is the official grant applicant on behalf of the developer. So this requires some documents that take place between the city and the developer. So the first document being considered is a contract between the city and the Kansas Department of Commerce, which is the administering agency for the CDBG program. The contract identifies the responsibilities of the city and the developer to comply with the grant requirements in order to receive the funds. As one might expect, there are a lot of requirements, so I won't go through them all right now, but just know that we will be working closely with the consultant and the developer to ensure that all requirements are being followed throughout the process. There are also two agreements between the city and the developer that must be considered. The first is a matching fund agreement, which outlines the responsibility of the developer to provide the matching fund dollars as required by the grant. And the second agreement is a repayment agreement with the developer, which stipulates some of the requirements for the developer in receiving and retaining the grant funds. And these include things like having provisions on insuring the building and requiring the developer to return some of the grant money if they were to sell with the property within 3 years. So some things like that. The total project cost is estimated to be about $3.2 million. And as I mentioned earlier, the CDBG grant is worth $300,000. Once all necessary documents are approved and all procedures and steps have been followed, the grant funds will be provided to the city by the Kansas Department of Commerce. No city costs are anticipated, as only the grant funds would be dispersed to the developer. So these are the options before you tonight. I will be going through with the action requested each document one by one, just to be double sure we have a motion on the books for each document.
I move.
Is this the first one, or did you go past one?
This is the
This
first
is
one.
the first one, okay.
I move to authorize the mayor to sign the CDBG agreement between the city and the Kansas Department of Commerce.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Reuter, seconded by Commissioner Cunningham. Any other questions, discussions? Not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 3-0.
I move to authorize the mayor to sign the matching funds agreement between the city and Chestnut Suites LLC.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Reuter. Any discussion or questions? If not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes.
Sorry,
Passes 3-0.
I was just excited. I move to authorize the mayor to sign the repayment agreement between the city and Chestnut Suites LLC.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Reuter, seconded by Commissioner Cunningham. Any further questions or discussion?
Exciting.
If not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 3-0. I also want to thank further the developers and everything that's going on down there. I see Mr. Beckner back there. Right, Melissa, there we go. The investment you guys are making in downtown is just fabulous. It already is a destination, and you guys are ensuring that continues. And I know you're going to do more things all over the place. I'm sure. I can't wait to see what's in your future. But for now, I'm very grateful to downtown. Having been part of the downtown development for the last 20 years, I can tell you that one thing has been what we've been wanting that since day one. And here it is, almost 25 years later from the day we started, and it's going to happen. So thank you very much. You guys are terrific. Appreciate everything you do.
Absolutely. It's exciting.
And I just want to share one comment with you because I have the pleasure of attending the Fort Hays game last weekend. And there is a couple that was there that attends every home game. And they were talking about how much they love our downtown. They just wish there were more options of where to stay. And so I got the joy of telling them that there should be in the future, and they were very excited. So thank you for this addition.
Very good. Okay, do you have more progress? Progress.
Mr. Progress.
Good afternoon, Colin Belzer, Deputy City Manager. Service Division, we're able to complete some concrete repairs at 41st and General Hayes Road. And then there were also repairs made to a water main break in the 200 block of West 25th and the 300 block of West 14th. They're also able to find some time to repair a long stretch of curb and gutter in the 1300 block of Elm Street. And then after taking delivery of the budgeted 4 new dump trucks for the Service Division, a representative from Wichita Truck Company provides staff a thorough and in-depth training of the new trucks. I think we put this on here primarily just to remind you guys, I know this, but these trucks took 2.5 years to get. They were
Unreal.
2022 budgeted trucks, so.
Had a lot of snow since then.
Luckily, the guys take good care of the trucks we have now, to keep them running. I think they're 20 plus years old, right? Yeah. So much needed enhancement. Well over 300 community members attended this year's event for the FHSU 9/11 Memorial and Stair Climb, including several Hays Fire Department members. The fire department actually worked really closely with Fort Hays State staff to plan this, and we have a firefighter that serves on the planning committee. The new fire truck was placed into service on September 5th, which I think you've all seen. I, for some reason, like to do this, but this was just under $600,000, so this was 1 year of public safety mill levy budget. So it'll just give you, and this is just a pumper truck. Ladder trucks are getting over $1 million. So. Two fire department members assisted Graham County Fire EMS during the I-70 shutdown on September 4th. This was a request due to the anticipated extra traffic that went through Hill City and Graham County. New field turf was installed to replace the turf that was installed in 2012. Life expectancy of turf for this level of play is only about 10 years, but we were able to get 12 seasons of play, and it is much improved surface. Staff removed 36 old tee boxes and installed larger tee pads to meet the newest disc golf design standards. And then the tee signs were also moved to better locations. And then once the holes were surveyed, once the tee pads were installed, new signage was installed on all the markers as well. Staff took a mower in the tree spade to the Go Truck Go event and allowed kids to sit in the seat of the mower, and staff was able to explain the process of adding trees throughout town. And then staff worked with Water Resources to repair an effluent water line that feeds Glassman, Pratt, and Larks Park irrigation systems. And then also, something you may not know, or the public, but when there's trees that fall on the public right-of-way, our Parks Department takes care of those. So staff did respond to 2 calls regarding trees blocking roadways. They did need assistance with the one that was on the utility line, but Jeff wanted this to be known. This wasn't due to high winds. These were just old trees in bad shape and fell. In IT, as part of normal maintenance, all available subdivision plat maps throughout the city and Ellis County were reviewed and updated as needed, and edits were made. In total, there are 546 plat maps in PDF format that you can go through on the GIS website. So if you really like maps or are interested, you can go to our website, click on the 27th and Main Street edition, and it will pull you up the plat that you guys had approved. You can see some really cool old ones. Also, the Hayes Police Department, Detective Sergeant Aaron Larson spoke to employees at Golden Plains Credit Union about robbery and workplace violence incidents. The Police Honor Guard, pictured with Mayor Sandy Jacobs, were at the annual 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb. Then Officer Clay Robinson interacted with the community during the Heroes of Hayes event that took place on September 13th. Water Resources, staff removed approximately 2,500 feet of old irrigation pipe that was located just outside of the walk-in hunting area parking at the R9 South entrance. They also made a repair to an air release at 501 West 40th Street. I had to ask Jeff Crispin what an air release was, but a lot of times these are at the end of cul-de-sacs when there's not a hydrant, so they can flush the water lines and get better quality. And then 2 of our employees, Johnny Rupp and Adam Arnold, they attended the Kansas Utility Locate Rodeo in McPherson. The event includes both instructional classes and friendly competition against other individuals in the state locating utility lines. Johnny Rupp, who's in the middle, he received first place, and Adam received second place in their division. And so they both have the chance to compete at the International Rodeo in Missouri in December.
Cool.
675 people attended this year's Go Truck Go. Water Conservation handed out Water Smart Wally shirts to kids after they or their parents tried to answer the question, where does Hayes get its water? And then other staff also attended from Water Resources bring a dump truck. These are probably my favorite shirts. I like little Wally that's on there. Janet Kuhn represented Hayes in Northwest Kansas at the Northwest Kansas Travel Council at the Kansas State Fair. And then Hayes was also visible with advertising on 5 of the state's fairs' sky ride benches on the back. The CVB provided a coffee station for the 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb, and then Mayor Sandy Jacobs provided a welcome, and Commissioner Musel participated in the event as well. On September 15th, the CVB hosted the Hayes Prairie Winds Kite Show at the Sports Complex. They also had support from Hayes Rec and the Hayes Parks Department. Spectators of all ages enjoyed the food trucks, games, and watching kites of all sizes.
Melissa finally got her wind.
Yeah.
Finally got her wind.
It's a pretty cool event.
It really is.
I was a little hesitant when she came to me with it a while ago. But Reeve loves it, so I love it. On September 17th, Kansas Commerce and Kansas Tourism awarded a tourism marketing grant of $9,800 to the Kansas Gunsmoke Trail, which is a collaboration Among Hayes, Abilene, Wichita, and Dodge City, Melissa Dixon was present and Dodge to accept the grant on behalf of Hayes. And then on September 19th, Melissa Dixon represented CVB at the Tiger Nation United event, which celebrated the new partnership of all the educational institutions in Northwest Kansas, and Central, I should say. The Kansas Highway Patrol hangar building continues to make good progress. Foundation footers are in and underground plumbing is being completed. Project is scheduled for substantial completion by year's end. The replacement of the co-op alley is complete, thus wrapping up the 2024 street maintenance program for the year. Only to hear in about 2 months, probably the next round for next year's street maintenance project, so just in time. And the 2024 water line improvement projects are also complete. Jay Court did an excellent job, and then we'll just monitor for warranty purposes, but we don't expect anything. That's all I have, unless you have questions about anything.
Looks great.
Good stuff. And Hayes happenings and upcoming events. Melissa Dixon.
Yes. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Melissa Dixon from the Hayes Convention and Visitors Bureau with some things that are happening in October. Paws Pumpkin Patch and Corn Maze is open. This is just south of Hayes. They're going to be open Saturdays and Sundays. And they also have alpacas and goats and all kinds of things that are fun for kids. RPM Speedway has their 18th annual Fall Nationals. This is 3 days of racing that ends with the championship night. That's out at Ellis County Fairgrounds, October 3rd through 5th. Fox Theater has 3 great shows happening downtown. Corey Kent with Caitlin Butts. I love her. Rehab and Cottonmouth Kings and Dylan Wheeler will all be here in October at the Fox Theater. And of course, Fort Hays State Homecoming coming up the weekend of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Bonfire Parade and Game. And the 52nd Annual Oktoberfest down at Municipal Park the same weekend. And Commissioners, you should have a schedule in your email from Andrea of hour by hour from Oktoberfest. If you don't, I'll get you one tomorrow. FHSU Science Cafe presents Water Smart Landscape Fall Edition. I included this because this is our very own Holly Dickman giving this presentation, and she is a superstar at what she does. That'll be October 7th at the venue at Thirsties. Then Hayes High School Homecoming Weekend is October 10th through 11th with Bonfire Thursday, Parade, and Game Friday. New event, if you've not been out to Creekside Resort to see the cabins and all of the slots out there for RVs, this is an invitation to an open house, and there's going to be a chainsaw artist, and there's going to be live music by DOC, October 19th, out at the RV park. The Hayes Public Library Foundation will host their Wine and Cheese fundraiser, October 19th, 6:30 to 9. And if you remember the past few years, this locomotive, the big boy, number 4014, has stopped in Hayes twice since I've been here in the last 10 years. It's always pretty exciting. We cannot board it, but we can look at it. And it's very impactful when it comes rolling into town with all the steam. So they will come in the 19th. We don't know when. You can track it if you Google Union Pacific Steam Tracker. But we can tell you they will leave Sunday morning at 9 a.m. And a pretty good place to watch is 10th Street.
One of the best pictures we've ever had in this community was when it came through town, snowing in winter. And I think actually was John Bird actually who was able to capture that picture. And it's just terrific. At big stem engine going through and snow just flying everywhere. It was really exciting.
It was like the Polar Express.
It really was.
Magical.
It really was.
Project 489, which benefits our school district. Auction will be October 26th out at Ellis County Fairgrounds. Doors opening at 4:30. Hayes Community Theater presents once again Rocky Horror Picture Show, and that will be down at their community theater location October 25th and 26th. Sternberg Museum usually has a special Halloween event. This year it's Mad Science Lab, October 28th, 4 to 6 out at the museum. Trick or Treat on the Bricks, October 31st. On Halloween Day, 3 to 5 downtown. The retailers are very excited to see the kids again. And I know I say this every month. there's so much more than this on our community events calendar online. I could be up here for 30 minutes telling you more and more and more, but I'm going to stop there. I will say this weekend, TMP Homecoming, check that out. And I'm going to go off script and say happy retirement to Becky Kaiser, the lovely lady behind the camera who helps us broadcast these meetings. Congratulations, Becky.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm going to take the prerogative to be first tonight talking about commission inquiries and comments.
She's running away. I don't think so. Yes.
Melissa kind of took the lead on this, but we'll go ahead. It's really our pleasure, Becky, to congratulate you on your retirement. We see so much stuff that happens in the press, particularly with governmental agencies. We can say for I don't know, how many years have you been doing this? 44. Can your friend take over the camera and you come up here, please? We have loved everything you've done for us. You have been fair and honest, and you've been a great reporter, and we're going to miss you a lot. We expect to see you out there with customer comments.
Absolutely.
There you go. We appreciate you very much. Thank you, Becky, and
Thank
good
you,
luck.
Mary.
Okay, Commissioner Cunningham.
I want to say congratulations to Becky as well. It's been a short time that I've gotten to know you, but I really appreciate everything you've done and how well that you represent and communicate to the community. So thank you. And then welcome fall. We finally got a week of fall weather, so hopefully that stays for
Hope
a
it
while.
stays.
I'm not ready for winter. And Melissa mentioned it's Parade Capital coming up, all these homecomings. So yeah, just be safe, have fun, and enjoy all those events.
Commissioner Rear.
Becky, congratulations. I know I haven't been in this as long, but I didn't have a lot of interaction with the press before. But I know of all the things that I've done with you specifically too, has been just extremely wonderful, professional. You're amazing at what you do, and it's going to be hard to fill, but I think if you train them right, you'll be all right. But we appreciate everything you've done, and I hope you enjoy your retirement and enjoy everything that you do. Thank you so much. Any other things I have would be, enjoy the homecoming for TMP this weekend. Parade starts tomorrow at 5:30, and then they play Stanton County Trojans. They're driving all the way up here. I think they're over by the Colorado border, so they got quite a trek to get up here to lose to the Monarchs, unfortunately.
A bit too bad for them.
Yeah, too bad for them, but it'll be fun. Only other thing I have is yesterday, Mayor Jacobs and I and a few other elected officials, both at this local and state level, we're out at Hayes Middle School talking to a group of about 250 eighth graders and the importance of voting and why it's important and what these kids need to look forward to and what they need to look for in candidates. This event was put on by the Youth Leadership Advisory Board, so they took the reins, they scheduled it all, and they asked some very, very smart questions.
I'm going to be better prepared next year.
Yes, they were very intelligent questions asked by these group of kids, and then set up a mock election for the kids to actually vote on that the kids might not have caught on initially, but the thought process was the two candidates they had, one was supposed to be kind of underprepared but still had some good points, and the other one was supposed to be really prepared, well-spoken, but had one thing that just could turn you off in a candidate. So the kids got to vote on those candidates, and it was interesting to see if we were going to see if they were single-issue voters or if they went with their gut and said, you know what, I don't like that one thing, but still think this candidate's better than the other. So it'll be interesting to see that concept. And then asked a few of them, I think it was about 50 or 60 of them, who were about 14, when they'll be able to vote in the next presidential election. So it's coming up a lot sooner than they expect. But It was a good turnout. I think it went really well, and I appreciate all the elected officials that were able to make it out and talk to the kids.
Yeah, it really was a nice event. That Youth Leadership Advisory Board just continues to blossom. This event was, last year, where their first time out was wonderful. This was outstanding. The president of, I always try to use the initials, YLAB, Isabel Jones actually is going to be 18 right before the election, and she was getting very excited that she was going to have her first year at voting. But they're very serious about their intentions in this community, and I'm speaking of the board now. And if you know of projects that you think would be interesting for any of this group to take on, don't hesitate to get a hold of Mason or one of the other commissioners. They do what they say they're going to do, and they do it very, very well. So that was fun. Becky, retirement's fun, I promise. The first 2 weeks is a little scary, and you wonder, what am I going to do? And about third week, you find out, how did I ever work and still do everything else I want to do? So we're extremely excited for you. And I made a comment last week, and I want to close with this comment this week, because people are actually listening. Well, I meant online. I thanked Golden Plains Credit Union for their contribution last week. They gave $13,000 to the city, and it was earmarked for a project that many people have been asking about, and that is a crosswalk at the Arc Park. It'll be one of the ones with the beacons, the lighted beacons for kids to go back and forth. We're finding a lot of that going on. So it was really good that there were citizens that noticed it, and it was extremely exciting that Golden Plains would step up and say, we're excited to take care of this for you. So we thank them again. We don't need an executive session. We're adjourned at 4:51.